Hello students, today we will discuss about main trends in 20th century fiction. First, a novel of ideas. Modern age is essentially the age of the novel. A number of the trends and tendencies are visible in 20th century fiction. In the first 2 decades of the 20th century, the novel dealt with the discussion of problems confronting the society. The Edwardian novel was essentially a novel of ideas, including in its scope a free discussion of all kinds of ideas scientific, social, political, industrial, and so forth. The Edwardian novelist considered it to be a sin to escape into a world of romance and psychological when the gaping escape into a world of romance. Wounds of social life were clamoring for reform and healthy wounds of social life and treatment. Next, realism. One result of this preoccupation with the problems of life was to give to the Edwardian fiction the color of realism, which the Victorians, under the influence of Dickens and Thackeray, had so very well employed in their works. H.G. Wells realistically presented the sorrow of suffering of a draper's assistant in Kipps and the history of Mr. Polly, George Murray, an Irish novelist. Made a realistic study of the poor in a modern lover, a mammoth's wife, spring days. In the last novel, he presented a close and realistic study of the lower and more sordid side of life with great sympathy for the underdogs in the society. Okay. Next, romantic fiction. The reaction against the realistic trend of Edwardian fiction was further perceptible in the works of the romancers who popularized another trend in fiction, namely a lover for romance, adventure, and the exotic lands. Among these writers who popularized romance, the most significant are Conrad Kipling, Haggard Wayman, and Maurice Hebert. Conrad presented scene of tropical jungles and sea life in The Nigger of the Narcissus, The Heart of Darkness, Lord Jim, The Rescue, and Rover. His sea tales are thrilling and suffused in the aroma of romantic adventure and struggle with the forces of nature. Next, a treatment of sex. During the Georgian period, a new trend began to perceptible in English fiction, and it centered around the glorification of sex and primal human emotions and passions. The Victorian novelists and poets had fawned on the dance of sex in their works and exalted married love over flirtation. The Victorian prudery about sex morality was given a jolt by the Georgian novelist and prominent novelist got busy with the presentation of sex relationship in their novel. Next, the psychological novel. The 20th century novel in the latter part of the Georgian period came under the influence of psychologists, and as the years advanced, the psychological tendency became more and more pronounced in the English fiction. A new technique was developed in the psychological fiction, and new trend found its vast exposition in the stream of conscious method, which was cultivated in all its complexity by Dorothy Richardson, James Joyce, and Virginia Woolf. The term stream of conscious was coined by William James in Principles of Psychology to describe the flow of inner experience. In literature, this technique is used to refer to the depiction of the thoughts and feelings which flow with no apparent logic through the mind of character. Next is scientific fiction. Closely allied with the psychological novel in the modern age is the tendency to employ science for the purpose of romance. Science has considerably influenced the works of the modern novelist. Science has revealed to the modern novelist innumerable aspects of life and opened new shades of thought and imagination to be employed in fiction. The very texture of the novel has been modified by the novelist's scientific exactness of observation and scrupulous regard for details. Next, detective fiction. Detective fiction popularized by Arthur Conan Doyle in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes was given a further impetus in the 20th century. Fiction by G.K. Chesterton, Edgar Wallace, Dorothy L. Sayers, and Agatha Christie. The Father Brown stories of G.K. Chesterton are very popular, and so are the detective novels of Edgar Wallace, such as The Four Just Men and Sander of the River. Next is regional fiction. One prominent trend in modern fiction is the growth of regionalism, which had been set in vogue by the Wessex novel of Thomas Hardy. Arnold Bennett carried forward the regional trend in fiction in his Tales of the Five Towns in the Old Wives' Tale and Clayhanger series. Mary Webster chose Shropshire surrounding for her precious bond, and Sheila Smith presented the life in Sussex in her novel The End of the House of Allard. Edwin Philpott has presented the West Country in his fiction. Next is biographical novels. Biographical family life fiction has also won recognition in our time. The world of William Clayshard, the Forsyte Saga, and Clayhanger and representative novels in these directions. Next are the 50s and onwards. In the 50s appeared a group of novelists popularly known as Angry Young Men, who presented a satirical picture of the new welfare state with something like the lower middle class. Factitiousness of H.G. Wells skips among these novelists. The names of Kingsley Amis, John Green, and John Wayne are significant. The best-selling Lucky Jim by Kingsley Amis exposes social pretense and the sexual trap which lie waiting for the male. Predominantly and amusing farce, its main subject is the boorishness provoked by an insufferable shame culture in a provincial backwater. Next, a future of the English novel. A backward glance over almost 400 years of English fiction suggests no probability that the novel is moribund. Through all the vicissitudes of romanticism and realism in the works of competent journeymen as well as in that of creative genius, a self-perpetuating vitality has never lapsed from the time when Lily and Sidney established one pole of the novel. Nash and Delaunay, the otherwise inherent qualities to the whole genre, have preserved it as the sole adequate vehicle for the complex, pragmatic, fluctuating milieu of the modern world. In the long run, the quality of work of a fiction depends on the quality of thought of the times in which it is written. The great novelists of the past wrote well because they thought well. Anyone writing fiction today who wishes to do so with effect must first make up his mind just where he stands as a human being at this moment of history. It is no longer possible for a Jane Austen to sit in a country personage writing novels of the first important which ignore the wars and revolutions, for the wars and revolutions are so general that they cannot be ignored, and not the mere fact of war and revolution alone, but the deeper issues and bewilderment, the confusion of loyalties, the search for belief and faith. Unless fiction is to become a toy, it cannot escape these issues. Indeed, the novelist must guard himself against the natural desire to withdraw from the large world into a selective range because fiction needs weight as well as intelligence. It is gratifying that the merger of symbolism and naturalism, as in the work of William Golding, Samuel Beckett, Lawrence Durrell, Graham Greene, and direction. Such a combination would allow the inclusion of the pressing events of the day, but at the same time, it would not hold the novel to the level of journalism. More promise for the future of English fiction may be seen in the rise of a number of writers qualified to treat English working class life from within. An optimistic note about the future of the English novel is also struck by David Tetch's. One can only express the hope that with the radio serial and various kinds of television program taking over the more superficial functions of fiction as entertainment, the novelist may find clever field for the further development of the novel as a real art form wherein surrounds this story with a narrow but deadly accurate account of contemporary northern small town life and its preoccupation with money, status, and class.